Welcome to Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast, where we hear real stories from real people and we tackle all sorts of fun topics in the areas of business, marketing, entrepreneurship, mindset, the arts, and, well, life itself. It's amazing what you will pick up. Thanks for joining us. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic day. It's Darren Saul here, your host of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast. It's episode 199, and I have the fantastic Daryl Bancroft in the house. How you doing, Daryl?
Good morning, Darren. Yes, excited to be here as always. I've been looking forward to this for a few weeks now, so a little bit of prepping, and happy to share some insight.
Oh, I can't wait, mate. And I know you're going to have a great show with us. But for everyone out there, the topic, liquid gold against rust and corrosion, and how to turn your backyard into an illuminated oasis resort style. So Daryl is an entrepreneur that works in the uniqueness space with a vision to help save time and preventative maintenance as a major focus. And he's always looking for an opportunity to give back. Along with his team, he has developed product ranges that simply offer a wow factor and potentially save very substantial dollars and give a huge impact. He is always looking into future-proofing and likes to be a few steps ahead of his competitors, or at least have very distinct points of difference that always benefit his customers. So Daryl, welcome to the show, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Daz. Yeah, as I said, it's for us, it's uniqueness. That's our key word that we probably utilize our business thoughts around. And with the industry being what it is, it's very competitive out there. And I'll use pool lighting as a perfect example, because that's where we started 19 and a half years ago. And to the point that I didn't really like the market leading products. They were okay. And they haven't really progressed even to this day compared to where we've gone. So I got talked into having to go at manufacture 16 years ago. And I sort of thought, well, okay, I don't really know the first thing about manufacture. But, I'm one of these guys that, the Richard Branson theory, hire the attitude, train the skill. So I've got the attitude. I'm fully adaptable. I love skill. I love upskilling. So yeah, within 2 years, we're producing our own pool lights. So we pretty much were the first ones to bring in LED pool lights, and people were, social media was in its early stages, and people were saying, "What's an LED? What's that? How does that change my pool?" And I said, well, the key philosophy that we got with our vision is leak proof. So just get that into your brain that leak proof stops the issues that you get. So we generally work on 4-to-1 as a ratio. So that's what your standard conventional pool light would be. Even with the market leader now, they won't produce a leak proof light. So our major point of difference is we produce a leak proof light for that reason. So not only do we say,
just to jump in, 4-to-1, what ratio is that? 4-to-1 what?
Changeovers. So that's a standard conventional light. You'll change it 4 times to one of ours.
Oh, right. I see.
So talking about longevity, because we typically get, anywhere plus 5 years.
Wow.
Now your standard pool light is 18 months to 2 years, and it's a change. And again, it's full price each time you change, whereas with ours, it's a one-off price. We're pretty competitive with the competitors. So we could be a little bit more expensive, but we've kept it niche to our clients, because word of mouth does our marketing. We really don't have to do much. We put a little bit on socials. Amazing. But honestly, the networking and the word of mouth marketing for us is gold. Because they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, right? Well, you start adding creative pool, and then you start to highlight the area of your backyard with lighting up trees and doing deck lights and walkways. And it can be quite stunning very quickly. So you can spend, say, $5,000 and it looks like you spent 100,000 at night.
Yeah, it's like a 5-star resort.
Yeah, quite simply, it can be. It's a couple of days in the yard, and the owners look at us, just sort of see, oh yeah, they're doing this and that, and they don't think much of it. darkness comes and it's like, wow.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah. And I can imagine
So
that would actually increase the value of your house a lot as well. You know?
yeah, we've done it with a lot of real estate agents where they've sort of had a house on the market and we've touched with the owners and the potential buyers, and I've gone, well, let's do the pool lights, let's do some landscape, let's put some deck lights in. And we've seriously got 20, 30 grand more because people then, certainly in Queensland, it's a outdoor area where people love to live of an evening and, you know, have the dinner outside. So we specialize in creating ambience by illumination.
Love it.
That's our key thing. So, and I have to sometimes tell people because they get excited and they want to sort of start spending money on, and I'm going, yeah, but you'll break the ambience. There is a limit to
Yeah.
how far you can go with lighting, you know. And Christmas is a good example because people go over the top. It looks great, but it's over the top, and now you don't want to do that with your own backyard or even a
No.
resort or hotel. I have to sometimes say to the facilities manager, no, 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 we won't do that, because once you've done the pool, we just do a little bit in the back of the pool area, which will segregate that, and they'll both work hand in hand. So you got to sort of stand back from a distance and look across the overall. So you look at the pool, which is multicolor. Let's say it's on blue.
Mm.
So then you probably want your trees on either a green or a nice warm white glow, so that you've got this constant picture of a lovely oasis looking type thing. Whereas, you know, some people just put floodlights everywhere and it's just too bright. It's like a tennis court, you know,
Yeah.
and you can't create ambience with high
You
high
need
output
you
light.
need mood. You need mood.
Mood is the key.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
And how did you get into this in the first place? So many years ago. How did you fall into this area?
Um, so I'm a printer by trade. I emigrated from the UK to Australia for a better lifestyle. I stuck with print for about 3 years, I guess. I didn't like the trip from the Gold Coast to Brisbane. I moved here to live on the Gold Coast. That was my key thing. So
Lifestyle.
got my living right, but I didn't like the transit. So then I bought a pool business
Hmm.
and quickly transformed that into double, triple the size. Sold it a few times, and
Wow.
each time I sort of kept looking at pool lights, going, "Why is nobody touching a pool light? What? It's like they burn you or something. There's something. Nobody specialized in it, and even to this day, there's no real specialists that I'm up
Yeah.
against it. So it's a niche area, and we specialize in custom and fitting off to all the awkward stuff. So
Right.
that's what started me, was the fact that I couldn't do LEDs when I first started because they didn't exist.
Yeah.
But what I used to do was pull the light apart, and I'd be the king of silicon. So like I'd seal the thing up, make it last. I'd get about 2 years out of a light, which is unheard of. You
Wow.
never got that. So as soon as I could get LEDs, I bought myself a router and a big drill press. And we used to cut the front of the lens of the pool light out and drop an LED and then resin seal. That was how we started. And
Oh my
we
God.
probably produce about 30 or 40 a day.
Oof.
And that was our initial manufacturing process. And we did that overseas in our factory.
Yeah.
And that was quite time consuming. I spent, 5 or 6 weeks of the year overseas building, implementing, and then we source multiple manufacturers, and to the point that we're using the same one now for the last 14 and a half, 15 years. We've got three of our major ones that we use.
Yep.
And you've got to be quite clever with the manufacturing. You get all your components from different places and all that, so that you bake the cake, but you don't give them the ingredients to actually make it all themselves.
Yep.
So, but we've got scalability, we've got high quality procedures now. We've, I won't say we've got the brightest light on the market, but we're certainly up there, you know. So the competitors look at us and go, wow. And we'll go into a resort, and this is a good example. We did one 7 pool lights. Now, this is a market leading pool light. We've gone in and we've got what we call an LED insert. So it means we don't have to change the whole light.
Right.
And the facilities manager's going, well, okay, so I'm a bit lost. You're coming in, you're not going to change my light, but you're going to make it 300% brighter. How do you do that? And I said, this is our LED insert. So we pull your light apart, we throw the back end in the bin, and we've got a retrofit kit that locks our light into your front end.
Wow.
And he goes, yes, I totally get that. How does that work? 300% brighter, more functionality. So when they turn them on at night, it floods the pool with what we call an even spread of light. So you don't get any hot spots. So,
Gotcha.
and this is something that you'll probably do now when you go to your next resort or hotel. You'll look at the
Right.
pool and you'll see there's hot spots. It's like, look around the perimeter of the pool and there's little blemishes of black spots here and there. So what we do is we take that away, and it's equivalent to having somebody pour like paint or a dye in the water, and it's completely even. So the water's the same color all the way. And that's how we've designed. So we went from getting our LED boards right to having the right output right, and also having a low output but multiple chips, so that our lights don't melt underwater. Because a lot of our competitors, their lights, if you take them out of water, they'll melt.
Wow.
So we've designed ours to run out of water as well as in, so we can actually light trees and things up so that they complement each other. So if you want the pool doing the same as the landscape, you can actually do that. So
right. So these lights, these LED lights will light up in water, they'll light up outside of water, either way.
yep. So
Gotcha.
it then gives you that niche inside a niche, because now you've got full color of synchronization of the whole backyard if you
Yeah,
want to go
nice.
that way. So that's what we do, and that's with this particular guy. We did 7 lights, and he rang me on the night when the timer came on. He went, "Oh my God." He said, "I cannot believe it. It's the same light fittings on the wall,
It looks
but
totally different.
it's transformed the pool." And they were in an award ceremony in the top 3 resorts on the Gold Coast,
Wow.
and they got judged, and one of the key compliments that they got was that their pool looked amazing. So that was good for us for the feedback.
That's fantastic.
And the facilities manager now uses us for everything. We've done landscape lighting.
Right.
We've created addition. They've got like caves around the place, and we put lights shining up on the caves, and just to give you that wow factor and that bit more 5-star resort look. So
And so
yeah,
is there a lot of competition now in this space? Or are you still quite a bit of a niche leader because of the type of
I
product?
guess when we talk about competition, look, there's a lot of people or pool shops, technicians that sell the market leading pool light.
Mhm.
But as I said, the market leading pool light will only do what it does. We've played with optics, we've played with output of light. So we've created our light to be a bit more powerful in what it delivers.
Right.
So we don't have much competition in that. We get a lot of people say, "I've heard about you, I've seen your lights at such and such," or whatever the case may be. "We want your lights." So they're coming to us now, which is
Amazing.
exactly where we wanted to be. That was, and one of our major points of difference is we don't drain the water at the pool. So that's a real king thing, that we hate
Yeah.
draining water, and we've got underwater drills, and we just don't need to drain water. Whereas a lot of the pool shops and that, they will drain the pool right down below the lights, which
Gotcha.
then can be quite expensive, because you got the cost of the light, you got the cost of the water, you got to top up the chemicals,
Yeah.
and the inconvenience of having to not run your filter for a few days because the water level's too low.
Right.
So
Yeah. I never thought that there'd be that much of a cost incurred when you drain a pool, but obviously there is.
there is nowadays, because everything, the chemicals are quite expensive, and
Yeah.
water's not as cheap as it used to be. So, but we have a real niche inside a niche. So we've got and this is a bit of a tongue twister, but it makes people, we get people call us up that don't even have a pool, because we'll do a Facebook post or a LinkedIn post, and it's like, "No pool light, no problem. We can come in same day without draining any water, without drilling any holes. And this will be a pool that's never had a light in it from 30 years ago. And within 2 hours, on average, we've got a light in there with a remote control, and the owners just shake their head and go, "How do you do it?" So, so that's just our uniqueness. That's just because we've adapted ways.
Yep.
I'm one of these type of people that I don't like to be told it can't be done. So if somebody's the first thing I do then is go into R&D
Find
mode
out.
and go, right now, okay, if it can't be done, let's first of all find out if we can get the raw materials. Secondly, yes, we're going to have a bit of fun trying to get it right, and it's going to cost a bit of money. So you write off whatever that may be in dollar value, but you look at the vision and go, I think I can get this. And that's where we're at with our lights now. We've
Amazing.
just created a saucer light, which is 2/3 slimmer than any other light on the pool market. And when you show people, it's like a saucer that goes on the wall, and they're just, how do you make it so slim? Well, it all eventuated from somebody telling me it couldn't be done. That's where it all started. So yeah,
So don't give you a challenge, because you'll go and invent something else.
I'm a shocker for challenges. If somebody mentions that word challenge, I've just finished a 30-day hard, so 30-day run every day, go
Yeah.
strong. And
Wow.
some days we were doing 50 or an hour, but the minimum was a 30-day. And it wasn't planned. It's just a mate of mine sent me a text, said, "Hey, I'm tagging you in this," and it said it's a challenge, and
That's
I
it.
went, oh. So
No,
to me, it's like,
magic word.
okay, I'm in.
Fantastic. And now I believe that if you're a pool technician or an electrician, you can also kind of use this as an extra income stream. They can kind of resell your product. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We've now started to set up distribution nationally, and actually the last few days I've even got an inquiry from Toronto in Canada. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Like, and they sent me through, because I always, the common thing that we get when we get a pool light inquiry is, can you send us a picture of the light and the transformer? Because that's pretty much when we put a pool light in, it's transformer, which is your low voltage output. It's the pool light, it's conduit, it's concrete or fiberglass.
Yep.
That's it.
Right.
So when people start to get all technical and go, oh, it's too hard and it can't be done, and because we go to jobs sometimes and they've for 13 years they've been trying to get the pool light fixed, and they've had multiple pool shops, and we just go in and go, well, yeah, we can fix that in a couple of hours. And
Unbelievable.
it just blows me away that, I guess, I don't know whether it's not underskilled. I think it's people just can't be bothered to try and work out how to do it.
Yeah.
So with us, it's it is a niche, but it's also the ability to see beyond a problem and just go, we don't have a too hard basket. Let's make it happen and let's do it. But let's do it well, so that it now gets us the distributors. So I'm training distributors now over the phone, sometimes in different states. And it's generally electrician or a good positive pool tech. I don't like anyone who's got a little bit of negativity, because it'll never work.
Right. Yep.
You've got to be happy, fun, going, because you're jumping in and out of pools in summer, but in winter you've got to jump into a cold pool. So so you got to have a little bit of nice and got to be prepared to take a bit of rough with smooth.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's not a difficult job. There's no real hardship in it. It's just a
Yeah.
bit of brain power, a bit of thinking.
Yep.
But I'll get the occasional call and they'll go, this doesn't fit. I can't get this. And I'll go, take me to the FaceTime, take me to the light, show me, stop. Okay. Take a picture of that. Now zoom it and see that little area there. You've just got to cut that piece out or whatever the case may be.
Wow.
And it's done within 2 or 3 minutes. They come back to me and go, oh, that works so well. I go, right. So log that. And then we create little training videos for them, and they're set, off they go.
Amazing.
So,
That's
and then
great.
they get a little bit more creative and start to play. And then quite often I'll get one of them send me a message, go, I've actually worked out how to do another light. And I go, great,
That's it.
fantastic.
You're on.
So
You're off.
so the teamwork thing starts to work then as well.
Beautiful.
So
And would you find that people are doing more of this in summer, or do they do it in winter as well, in the off season in a way?
pretty much both now, because winter is a good time to drain your pool and do renovations. So however, the way things are in the world at the moment, to try and get a pool renovator, you're waiting 6 months, no matter what time of the year it is. So
Wow.
we're quite lucky. We do get a few jobs in winter that have got empty pools, so that's easy for us, because we just climb down the steps and fit the lights off. But we're used to wearing weight belts and goggles and getting underwater and doing it all. So we get spoiled when we got a pool that's got no water in it.
Yeah.
That's an
Or
easy way.
if you can get in with a pool that's just being built, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, if we get in with ones that have just been built, we can actually then get a bit more creative, and we can put in protocol control. So that means we can then put it on apps and run it from the house and run it on
Oh,
from the
cool.
home
Wow.
Wi-Fi. And so, yeah, there's a lot more scope that can be done on the new pool as opposed to the retro
Yeah.
changeover.
So you can do it with Siri and say, Siri, put the pool lights on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
Wow. Cool.
yeah, yeah.
Amazing, mate. That's unbelievable. And are you finding that people do similar things overseas?
Yes, we've done a little bit in Fiji. We've got a few resorts over there that we've picked up, and
Great.
although they don't really like the color so much over there, they tend to go for the blue lights for their resorts and things
Right.
like that, which makes it even easier again because now there's no color controller needed. It's just a power supply and a pool light. So,
Amazing.
but we're finding that yeah, most countries. I've just come back from a trip in the UK, and we even got inquiries over there for pool lights. And again, hotels and resorts. It's not many residential homes that have got pools.
Yeah, yeah. Wow,
So,
that's unbelievable, mate. Well, I mean, it's all happening in the pool lighting space.
yeah, well, like I said, the picture that I got come through from the lady in Toronto, it's actually one of the Australian branded lights. And I'm going, how did that get to Toronto? She said, oh, this is a common light here in Toronto. And I'm like,
Amazing.
well, that's the market leader that we've got all the retro replacements for. So that's a great thing for us because that's an easy residual for us.
Wow, absolutely. And
So,
Matt, I'd love to chat about your other product, which is StrikeHold. And everybody can see that on your fantastic wallpaper there. Tell us a bit about this product. How did it come about? What's this all about?
okay, so StrikeHold is another level, what we call the SAS CRC spray. So
Right.
developed by the US military for the US military, and for 10 years it was in the US military only. So they
It's almost like what Bruce Wayne would have in his bunker, you know?
yeah, very similar. It's little bit sort of Batman type
Yeah,
thing, you
cool.
know. It's so basically what they used to do, and this is they it was developed for a battle zone. So
Wow.
the troops would go to war and they would spray a 15-meter magazine. So picture this, 15 meters of magazine, and you're snipering through flood plains and muddy swamps and we're talking sand and dust and dirt. And
Amazing.
they would just come up to the enemy and just rapid fire.
Right.
And this 15 meters of magazine will just go racing through the sand and dirt and no jamming, no misfires. So that's when the product was found to be, you know, an amazing. Well, some of the David Petraeus, he ran the troops through Afghanistan, and he said this product has saved thousands of soldiers' lives. It's helped us to win wars, and it's just an amazing product.
So what exactly does it do? I'm still trying to work it out.
So it goes on as a wet, oily spray.
Yeah.
Within 12 to 24 hours, it's a complete invisible dry film. You wouldn't even know it's there. You come back after spraying it the day before and you touch it and you go, didn't I spray this with oil yesterday? But it's
Ah,
got a drying agent in. Yeah, you talk about Batman. It's a, as I say, SAS CRC secret spray. It's that amazing that people don't believe it. So once they try it, and you can tell any story you want, but nobody's going to believe you until they get a result themselves.
yeah.
And even when they watch a video, they don't believe it because I've got videos of me dunking drills in water. And we've got our CEO from the US putting an electric drill in a tank of water, and he's got extension, he's got light bulbs in there, and he's sticking his finger into 240-volt sockets. And so what it does, it adds a dielectric strength as well. So it's a dry lube that adds an electrical protection circuit.
I see.
It's got what we call capillary. So if you were to put it on the end of your microphone that you're talking into,
Yep.
for
Yep.
example,
Yep.
and you go and have a coffee, it's going to climb all the way up to the other end of the microphone. Like it's like
Oh
a
my.
creepy
So,
crawly.
wow. Yeah. So
It,
it almost follows the whole trail.
yes. So when we do like the multiple applications, there's just so many, but let's use a four-wheel drive underbody spray.
Yep.
So you're going to go at the beach on Fraser and you don't want sand, you don't want salt water, you don't want anything to stick to the bottom of your chassis. So you get underneath with the StrikeHold, and we've got a little pump up sprayer that we sell that's got a little mist nozzle or a squirt nozzle. You get it
Yep.
on like a mist
Yep.
and you just spray all the underneath.
Right.
And what that will do is dry within 24 hours. when you go at the beach, the sand won't stick to it, the salt water won't stick to it,
Oh, I see. So it
and
creates this protective film.
exactly, it's a protective film, and we're about to roll it out into surf lifesaving. We're just early stages now of hopefully potentially, if that goes nationally, which we plan on helping them to get that across, because they spend every 3 years they have to they trash their vehicles.
All
They
right.
just get worn out from, and it's just corrosion. They just fall apart. They literally fall apart. So if they spray once a week with StrikeHold, they won't be doing anything with rust and corrosion. It'll stop that rust and corrosion. So you put that across Australia and New Zealand, you're talking probably millions of dollars in savings. So
Wow, and that's
so
actually a
we
really
we're
good point. So you'd recommend reapplying every week, or depending on what the surface is as well.
for surf life saving, absolutely. But for the average person that's doing a bit of four-wheel driving, I'd probably quarterly.
Right.
You maybe 6 weeks if you really wanted to be on top of it, but quarterly would be fine.
Mhm.
Boat trailers and things like that every quarter is what we sort of suggest, because they're
Gotcha.
in and out of the salt water.
Yep.
Um,
And
but
what about in the house or around the backyard? Are there any applications for it there as well?
oh yeah, again, how long's your list? That it's easier to say what it won't do than what it will do is
Right.
what we. But padlocks, hinges, sliding doors. One of the key things that we can do, and this is how we not an upsell, but if I say to somebody, if I give you a free sample and you go and try this at home, and you tell me what the result is, I guarantee that you'll be smiling and you'll probably want to buy some. And they go, that's a pretty bold statement. I go, okay, right, this is the only product you can do this with. So go home, spray your garage roller door. So all your runners, all your chain mech,
Yep.
it'll get super quiet and it will last for months. And because it's a dry lube, this is what people don't get. It's still lubricating, but it's not sticky and oily. It's invisible. It's a
Uh-huh.
dry, invisible oil.
So would you say this is a bit of a competitor to WD-40?
Gets compared to WD-40 a lot. So we're probably 3.5 to 4 times the price. So
Right.
that's the first thing that comes up.
Okay.
I'm not paying that because WD-40. So WD-40, great product, fantastic, does what it's supposed to do. It repels water, doesn't displace. The interesting thing is WD-40 stands for Water Displacement Experiment 40.
Yes.
Displacement being the key word.
Yeah. Not repellent, but displacement.
Yes, but it doesn't displace, it only repels. And we do a test with this. We get a jam jar and we do WD-40, we usually do inox, and we do StrikeHold.
Right.
The WD-40, you pour it in, we use a cap full of each product,
Mhm.
pour it in, it sits on the top of the water, creates a little film, and it repels.
Gotcha.
We do the same with inox. It pretty much does exactly the same, but it goes a little bit yellow like chicken salt.
Uh-huh.
Now this is where the magic happens. So we do the StrikeHold, we pour it in, and it sinks to the bottom like toffee.
Wow.
So we put the lid on the StrikeHold, and we usually give it to, because we're doing a demo, usually to 20 or 30 people at a staff meeting or something like that. And we go, try and separate that StrikeHold from the water, and they'll shake it, and as fast as you put it down, it's back toffee on the bottom again.
Wow.
So that's how it works. And I did a really good experiment one day with a guy on the canal. There was a bit of metal in the river, in the canal there. And I said, how many liters of water do you think's in that canal? And he went, millions, like millions. And I went, okay, so it'd be pretty powerful if I could put a cap full of water of StrikeHold, and it treated that metal that's 150 mil under the canal in millions of liters of water. And he goes, yeah, you need to be taken off in a white suit, mate. You're on a different planet. So we do the test, and the way to test it is you give it about 3 minutes, because it does its capillary thing.
Yep.
It's heavier than water. So StrikeHold will go in and it will jump onto the metal. It's heavier than water, so it will land on the metal.
Yep.
It does its capillary, it does the crawl underwater, it does
Yep.
everything because it's heavier than water.
Gotcha.
So it essentially goes in, it takes a barrier and pulls the water off, even underwater. Like it's mind blowing. So then So we pulled it out 3 or 4 minutes later, and I went, okay. So the way to test is obviously do water bead test. So you drop a bit of water on it, beads and rolls.
Yep.
And he's just blown away. He's gone, whoa. And I said, turn it over and see if it does it on the other side. And he went, yeah, yeah, right. So he turns it over and he goes,
And it
oh
does.
my God. So
Incredible.
it's completely coated this thing 360 degrees within 5 minutes under the water. So you can
Incredible.
imagine what it does to your vehicle when it starts to crawl into all the. So any squeaks that you've got in your springs and coils and where. So WD Inox, all the CRCs, they're all great products in their own right. But what they'll do is they'll stop at the source. So if you squirt it into a padlock, it's only going to get to the entry of the padlock.
Mhm.
If you squirt StrikeHold into a padlock, it will crawl inside and it will fix up all the rusty and the free. It'll
Yeah.
unseize it. You come back next day with a key, and it's like putting a knife in butter. It's just so smooth, and so that's the capillary. And of course, then it dries, so it doesn't attract dust and dirt.
Yeah.
And that's our key thing is we don't attract dust, dirt, and that's why surf lifesaving will get so much of a benefit.
Yep.
And we're trying to get it into aviation because I'm not sure what they use, but it's some sort of CRC. I think it's inox.
And what does CRC stand for? Corrosion something?
Corrosion resistant spray, I think it's the.
Nice. Right.
So it they're all good products and they're all designed to do what they do, and they're all got their own special formulas. So, and the other interesting thing is StrikeHold is such an array. There's like 14 ingredients, and we've had quite a few people that have tried to reverse engineer it, and it's been quite comical to
It's a
watch
bit like
them.
KFC.
Similar, yeah, yeah, and we're
Never get it right.
yeah. So they've got close. That I've had one guy said it looks the same, it smells the same, it demonstrates the same if you shake it, and it sort of does the displacement, not as well,
Yep.
but it doesn't work. And I go, yeah, that's because of our 14 ingredients, some have to be heated at certain degrees to mix, and you got to mix them together, and you got to do all of the ingredients as a
As a process.
system. You
Yeah.
can't just mix them all. It has to be done.
Yeah.
And
so,
it's
and how did
interesting
you
to
get
watch.
it in the first place? How did you get this product?
So I found out it was sort of by accident, really. I had what we call a Nemo drill from the States,
Right.
quite a good underwater drill. However, the battery life on it, they're $2,500. So they're quite good, but the batteries just don't last.
Right.
So when the battery dies, it's $800 for battery. It's just silly. Like so, 8 years ago, probably closer to 9 years ago now, I just typed in underwater drill just on Google, as you do, and suddenly this guy comes up with an electric drill underwater, and I'm going,
How the hell
what
that
the hell?
Yeah.
So I've immediately got in contact with him, and he actually connected with me within 24 hours. He said, what are you trying to do? I said, I need to drill underwater in a swimming pool. He went, oh, no problem. You can use mains. I went, no, I'm not stupid. I want to use a battery drill. So he sent me 2 cans. It arrived within a week, and sure enough, I'm still using the original battery drill as my demo now. That I just use that now because I can't kill it because I spray it up and I use it in a tank of water, and that's where it all started. So it's so then I said to the guy at the time, I said, this is such a unique product. And he said, well, I'm just about to retire from the army. StrikeHold was my platoon.
Wow.
I've got a few distributors out in the world there, but I've just got to tie it up with the army because they think they own the product, but they don't.
Because
So
he was the one who developed it, wasn't
he was the one who developed it, and he has all the rights to it. But the military thought that when he retired that they would just take it over, and he said, oh, no, it doesn't work like that.
it?
I still own it. I'll supply you. And so he then introduced it, and I said, well, how would I claim the Australian Asia Pacific rights? And he went, well, you've got to prove yourself. So first thing I did was went to a chlorinator manufacturer. So who we were working for with our pool lights in their overseas factories. So it was perfect. So I said to the owner, I said, I got this spray and it's really good with electronics as well as all the other stuff. And he went, yeah, so how would that help me? I said, well, the PCBs that you replace on the chlorinators, when they fail, what do you do? He said, well, throw them in the bin. They're gone. I said, okay, so can I try an experiment? I want to see if I can, because usually they fail to moisture. That moisture gets in, it kills the PCB, and they just don't work because it's corrosive moisture.
Yeah.
And left for too long, it eats the tracks away, and then they're just to throw in the bin. So I pulled 33 of these out of the bin. I put up a string line. It was one Friday afternoon. I sprayed them quite extensively. I came back on the Monday morning, gave them another spray. I said to the owner, I said, can you give me a jig so I can test them? And he's just shaking his head going, you're just on another planet with this. Because he didn't know what I know about the product, about it being so the capillary and I tested it on a few torches and things like that, and it worked with filling a torch with water, putting batteries in, and it still works. I'm going, wow, it seems to work. So anyway, of those 33, I've got 26 of them functioning fully. So then he's gone, what is this stuff? Bit like you with Batman. He's going, is this like some secret? So then we sent them back out in the field. He was a bit reluctant, but he sent them back out in the field. And yeah, we didn't get any failures. So that was a good start. So then he started assembling on his assembly line. He started spraying all his PCBs with StrikeHold.
Wow.
Now his annual maintenance fees for, warranty, and it was about 120K. We eliminated that completely. No more warranties.
That's nuts.
So then I've gone back to my CEO and went, it took 4 years to compile that to get it, and he's gone, okay, that's good enough for me. And now we've got Surf Life Saving, and we've got, really good influencers. We've got Spider Everett, who's one of the local celebrities on the radio here. We're just introducing Courtney Hancock, who's the ambassador of Surf Life Saving and Nippers Australia. So she can help us brand and grow that, because the object of what we're doing here with Nippers is to give back. It's not about us making millions of dollars out of product. It's about making lots of money in saving on vehicle maintenance so that we can help Nippers do whatever they need to do and train these kids so that they're lifesavers and they can swim
That's right.
and any other things we can do. I'm as you know, I'm quite friendly with Adrian Hanks, and I'm part of his program. So he's got the Blue Wren. Now we do a lot for domestic violence, so hopefully we can give back there. And it's to me, it's about having a product that's amazing that can help a lot of other people as well. It's
beautiful.
Well, people are calling it the golden lube, magic lube. It gets we get all sorts of people calling. Yeah,
oh my God.
It's exciting.
That's fantastic. It's just amazing how you came across this product and how superior it is.
Yes, and like I said, it was just because I was searching for, and I didn't want to spend another 2.5 grand on one of these Nemo drills because I didn't really like it. And to be honest, it wasn't that good at drilling as well. It was a big thing. So now just our standard battery drill on hammer, it goes a bit slower because you're not supposed to have water going through the gears. It's certainly not designed for that, but it doesn't take long to drill a 15 mil hole in a swimming pool on hammer.
Wow.
So, but it certainly, we get people that we're working in their yard, and especially they're working from home, and they might be looking out the window on the phone, and they'll come running down. They'll go, "Did I just see you with a drill underwater in my pool?" It's just go, "Yeah, that's what we do." And they're like, "That's how you don't drain the water, right?" I go, "Yeah, well, that's the key thing. It's yeah,
that's crazy." Well, there you have it. StrikeHold and LED lighting. Fantastic. Brand new technology.
Brand new technology. It's sort of unheard of. It's one of those products that these days, people, they say, it sounds too good to be true. And we get flagged with that every time. It's like, yeah, you're a bit of a BS artist. There's no way that this can be true. And so I've had to drop back on my pitch the way I promote the product, because people, because I'm very passionate about what it does and how it can do it, but that can come across as me being a bit sort of, oh, he's making all this up. There's
They
no
want to
way it can
see.
do
They want to
this.
see the proof. Show me the proof.
Yes, exactly. So that's why we've gone to something, a big authorization like Surf Lifesaving, because that will brand us. We
Yeah.
won't need to do, it'll just do its own thing, and it's already doing that, but in a small proportion. We did with Spider, he's got the Great Australian Doorstep, so we did a couple of TV promos
Oh, great.
with him, and every time he runs that, we have to turn it off straight after, because we almost run out of stock. So
Oh my God.
so we know the demand is there,
Yep.
and we're in the process now of setting up the full Australian manufacturer so that we can actually produce on this side of the water, because at the moment we still bring it in from
Yeah.
Atlanta, which is it's a bit of a mission, especially with shipping logistics costs. And
That's right. Yeah. Especially now. Yeah.
but we get asked for by I've been approached by Bunnings and some of the bigger, and I'm just going, look, it's too specialized for Bunnings. Like, people are not going to pay $50 for a bottle of something when they can buy WD-40 for $8,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that mindset, they're just going, well, it's WD-40. It's absolutely not. It is like a Batman spray, but how do you tell people that they don't see that? They don't see the difference. So when we can get some stats going, I mean, what I'd like to do in 3 or 4 years' time is line up, say, 300 Surf Lifesaving vehicles in a car park, and run a drone across, just fly up and down a couple of times and go, okay, we have, $3.3 million worth of vehicles here that are all still serviceable because of this product. That's where I see
Yeah.
the value, because then it's like, it's going to be
The
then.
savings. The savings are huge. My God.
Yeah, we've got a guy on the Solomon Islands that uses it for fixing mobile phones, because it brings them back. The trick with the guy with the underwater and millions of liters, well, you imagine a phone, it just gets dropped in the
That's right.
drink, and it's gone.
Yep.
But StrikeHold will slowly bring it back to life, because it'll dry it out. So
Incredible. It's nuts. So it can even dry things out after they've been wet.
yes, I had a guy put his car keys through the wash, and he said to me $440 for a new one through Isuzu. And I said, let me just try something. So one tiny drop just through the button, and it probably took 20 minutes to get in and crawl across all the electronics. Now I'm talking one drop, but it's only a small PCB. It's only
Yeah.
like 35 centimeters, maybe square. So this drop's gone in, it's taken the water off, and I've just gone up to his car and went, that's your car, right? Because I knew it was working, because I had the red light pumping it. And he's gone, yeah, whatever. Like, it's beep 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 beep. He's gone, oh my God, it worked.
Incredible.
So he was one that was quite skeptical, but now he's an electrician. He uses StrikeHold on all the
Now
out
now he's your
sockets,
best
and
customer.
yeah, yeah. We bought back electric boards that have got wet from floods and things like that. So it'll dry them out. It'll take the moisture out of the switchboard, and suddenly all the electronics are working again. So
Amazing.
normally you got to use dehumidifiers, and sometimes you got to replace the board, but this product can do a lot more than, yeah, air conditioners. If you put a new air conditioner on a building, high rise, for example, my idea would be to send a guy abseiling, one of the guys that does the windows, send him with a back little spray pack and spray the air conditioners every 12 months, and they just won't rust. They will stay intact.
Incredible.
Whereas normally, I don't know what, the 2 or 3 years you'd have to change them, because they just fall apart, and it's dangerous because they're hanging on top of a building.
That's right. That's right.
So there's a lot of maintenance fees that can be saved, and just easy, because it's a spray. Like, it's a magic spray. That's what it is.
Oh, I love it. Well, that's fascinating. And so, if people want to actually find you to find out about these products and get some trials or whatever, how do they do that? What's the best way?
So we've got e-commerce sites, and that's the easiest. So just jump onto our e-commerce sites. So we've got StrikeHold and Alpha, and we've also got we've just set up alpha LED pool lights now as well as a separate e-commerce, because we're finding that we still do a lot in the LED space, but we're finding that the pool lighting and the landscape is just going off in another little tangent,
Right.
and it's a complete different business. So
Wow.
we've gone into e-commerce in that because we're getting a lot of people. And as I said, Toronto's, we only launched the site last week, I think, and Toronto are onto us like and they're talking about distribution. So that's just not a general inquiry. That's somebody that wants to on-sell our product. So
That's amazing. Well, I'll make sure that I put all those links in the show notes so everybody can find you.
yeah,
And,
beautiful.
I'll put
Yeah.
your social media up as well so people can connect with you and follow your products and follow your story.
Yeah, we have a StrikeHold preventative maintenance forum, which we encourage people to jump onto. So what we do there is we get people to join, and every week we post something new that you use StrikeHold for. And
Right.
like I said, there's thousands of applications. So, but one of the best ones we've got is a guy said, "You've changed my life."
Eh,
And we're like, okay, so how did we do that? And he said, well, I go to the beach with my family, and I've normally got to stay just on the road there because I can't go on the sand or in the water.
yeah.
Oh, okay. So he says, but now I've got prosthetic legs, and I spray both of my legs and I go and stand in the ocean with my kids and
Oh
family.
my God, there you go.
So that
Incredible.
is just gold to us, that those
Wow.
type of stories are just, and I said, so
No
what?
way.
He said, well, when I come out of the water, I just spray them with StrikeHold, and of course they dry. And I said, you probably don't need to spray them. He said, oh, they're $10,000 each, these legs. So
I'm spraying them.
I don't normally go near sand, but of course the sand doesn't stick.
Incredible.
The salt water doesn't stick. So it's, and there'd be multiple applications. We've approached some of the aged care centers that have got those wheelies that
Mm,
they sort of go onto the beach, but they don't go into the water. And it would be great to let the pensioners drop their feet in and get wet,
yeah.
and feel and we can absolutely do that because it's good for plastics, rubbers, all metals. So
Yeah.
it's
Well done.
yeah,
That's
it's
awesome. Well, Daryl, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. That's been so interesting. Is there anything that you want to leave us with?
not really, just connect with us. We're here to help with any maintenance issues that anybody's got. Facilities managers, if there's any facilities managers out there watching this and they're a bit stressed with the buildings and all that, they're one of the best clients that we can take on, because we can, fix your pool lights, do all the resort lighting, and we can help you with the StrikeHold. Is good for all your elevators or your door locks, and suddenly you've got like this extra toolbox that you can
Amazing.
use, that we can fall back on. And we're always available. The team's growing, so on, any of our sales guys that we put on now, we train them that we want you to be able to talk to anybody about all it's preventative maintenance. And we that's what we are. We're uniqueness in
Yeah.
preventative maintenance. So
Love it. Love it.
we want to make people's jobs easier. That's what it's all about, and give longevity. It's about saving money. Okay, the StrikeHold's a bit more expensive to buy, but it goes 5 times further than all the others. So you've got that protective shield then.
Yeah.
So
And the same with the pool lights, it's 4-to-1, as you said.
yes, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Fantastic. Well, mate, that's been absolutely fascinating. I've learned a hell of a lot, and I hope we've opened up everybody's eyes to the functionality of these great products. So everybody, please check out the websites, which I'll put in the show notes. But Daryl, once again, mate, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope everybody's had fun. And
Yes, thanks, Darren. Look, I really appreciate, and I've been wanting to get on your show for a while.
thank you, mate.
So look, I'll, if I can send anybody your way, because you do a great job, and you're awesome at interviewing, because you've got all that process ready, and obviously you can then help them with photography as well if they need a hand there. So
Sensational, mate. You're great. You're gonna be my PR person.
happy to help.
Love it, man. Love it. But everyone, hope you had a great show. We'll be back early next year for episode 200. So stay tuned, and everybody have a fantastic break. Wish you all the very best over the holiday season, and we'll see you very, very soon. Thanks again, Daryl.
Thanks, Darren. I can go out as number 199. Happy in the
199. You're the man.
Love it. Love your
Yeah.
work. Thanks,
Thanks,
Darren.
buddy. See you later, everybody. Thanks again for joining me for another episode of Playing with Perspective, the suspended animation podcast. If you would like to join me as a guest on the show, I would be delighted to collaborate. Feel free to buzz me on 0414 659 800 or email me on darren@suspendedanimation.com.au. I'm always on the lookout for great guests who can share their stories and expertise with my community. Also, if you have been thinking about putting your own podcast together and not sure where to begin, look no further. I run a really simple 3-part podcasting course, one-on-one with me, where I walk you through the entire podcasting journey. You will end up with a fantastic new podcast to start sharing right away. Feel free to get in touch to discuss further. But for now, though, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time.